FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Well, one of the things we did is we set up this write Eric function on the site. It was really done for two reasons. One was because we knew it would be important, obviously, for anyone who's in prison. It really helps to hear words of encouragement from friends and family. But also because we had a hunch that we would receive valuable information and intel. In a country like Nicaragua, previously communist, there is a culture of fear. Oftentimes when there's a crime, they won't talk to the police, they won't talk to each other. But we thought maybe if they could send an anonymous message to a website that they would. So this was really kind of our primitive solution to gathering intel from the field, if you will. And sure enough, people started writing letters. I received letters from others who had been wrongfully convicted and imprisoned, and they gave us very valuable information in terms of anticipating things that only someone who had been through such an ordeal would be able to. We received very professional tips from crisis managers who were helping us organize our human effort. Even prisoners incarcerated in the United States with access to internet were, teaching me how to protect myself in jail and saying things like, chew your food relentlessly until, to extract the maximum amount of nutrients. There was even things as random as a young woman who sat next to a U.S. senator at a wedding, and she told us what was said kind of on the DL. Ended up being very valuable in terms of us kind of planning our moves in meetings. There were even letters from family members of the judges, the Sandinista judges who set me up. And even family members of Daniel Ortega himself, actually kind of sharing their opinion on him and his way of governing, and sharing kind of hypothesis on my case. It was all very interesting and helpful, but there was one letter that was of particular interest, and it was a mysterious Spanish speaker that suggested that we look into the SAM-7 missile negotiations that were happening between the United States and Nicaragua. The SAM-7s were a shoulder-borne missile. It's a cache of weapons that were given to Nicaragua by the Soviet Union in the 80s. And one of the first things that Ortega did after my conviction actually was that he severed communication between the U.S. Embassy and the Nicaraguan Immigration Registry. Post 9/11, the United States is very adamant about having access to immigration registries in the hemisphere to see who's moving where. So that was a very, kind of a diplomatic middle finger in a way, as soon as Ortega took office. Simultaneously, he's aligned himself with Iran, and he's letting Iranians and third world nationals come into Nicaragua with little or no screening. And so the State Department is worried about these missiles falling into the wrong people's hands in Nicaragua. So the suggestion from this letter prompted us to look into the matter. A friend with deep contacts in the political sector sure enough, uncovered some compelling evidence that I was being held as a bargaining chip in this missile negotiation. The United States is trying to purchase the missiles for around $1 billion, I think. The State Department will never admit to this being true publicly. They've actually adamantly denied it, but nevertheless it gave us powerful ammo in backroom meetings with government officials from both governments.